So some of you've met Saniya before. Heidi, I don't think you did. Saniya, we met under strange circumstances.
We did.
We were just stranded somewhere and ended up kind of buddying up to get into town. We both had urgent stuff in. Oh, it's Maria. Yeah. It's Maria. Yeah, so we kind of jumped in a cab, and you know when you do that, trains, planes and automobiles things, because you've got to get somewhere. So that's how we met under strange circumstances. Quite funny. Hello, Maria.
Hi. How are you?
Hi.
We're all good. We're good. I'm just introducing Saniya and saying we met under strange circumstances, and we were both sort of stranded a bit, and we ended up kind of buddying up a bit, trains, planes and automobiles to get somewhere. So it was quite, you know, you meet people in strange circumstances. We kept in touch. It was quite funny. I asked Saniya to talk to us because sales is something most therapists are weak at. We avoid sales, or we tend to be a bit apologetic, and we're not good at closing sales. We're not good at asking for money. So I think, yeah, but the hard sell thing, you got the other extreme where a lot of these programs that are teaching you how to do business in this field are hard sell. And I know some that are disgracefully hard sell, disgracefully, as in they use hidden suggestions. They keep you there for hours. They're almost bullying. So you've got the two extremes. So, and I think nice selling, good selling is wonderful. So I'm just going to hand over to Saniya, and she'll tell you, she'll run this. But I think it's an area most of us could do with a bit of help with. So Saniya, welcome.
Thank you, Anne, for having me. Welcome everyone that's joined today. I'm Saniya and I'm from Sales Training Coach. We're today going to cover an area that is quite a difficult subject, which is objection handling, and what kind of questions can you expect from a proposed customer or a potential client. So the area that we're looking at is objection handling, followed by how do you sell online, social media, and your website building. So to start with, I would say that when a customer contacts you, I would avoid going into explaining the benefits of your product or your solution. I would start by basically probing questions. I would ask, what is it that you're looking for? Get the client to talk to you, allow them to open up, allow them to define their need. When people define their need, it then becomes very clear to you what it is that they're actually searching for, what they're looking for. And so if you give the customer the opportunity to give you that information, because you started the call, the inquiry, by asking the relevant questions. What is it that you're looking for? Why are you here? What are your current problems? What are you hoping to achieve from this? Then it allows you to build a picture of the client's needs, and it defines their needs because they've given you the answers to your questions before you start talking about, well, this is my product. So build that value in your product by probing questions. Ask lots of questions, because that initial time you take to ask those questions will allow you to build a picture of why the customer has come to you and what it is that you can offer them to help them and to help define a solution which works for them. And that can only be done by asking questions, because you're constantly building value in your own product without defining what you're offering before you go to that point. So if you've asked the questions, you know, you're making notes, you have understood the client's problems, you're also at the same time parallel to that thinking, well, this is my product and I think I can offer this. If you've done all of that, you've built a picture, they've defined and you've understood that this is what they're really looking for. It's then that you can say to them, well, look, I've understood what you're telling me. If I'm clear in saying you've defined that these are your current issues and these are your current needs, and based on that, I think my solution over here, which offers X, Y, and Z would really work for you. So then you're defining the benefits, the advantages, and the features of what you have to offer. So by doing so, and by allowing people to talk before you start giving the big sell, you're almost breaking down objections right from the beginning, because you've already established the problems they're having. So when they come back to object, you have ammunition, because you already know in your mind that they're facing X, Y, and Z, and I can help them here. So you've done a little bit of homework. Now, everyone thinks objections are a bad thing, but actually, I don't think they are. I think objections are a positive thing, in the sense that they've shown some interest in your product and are raising objection. Now, those objections might be, well, your pricing, I think you're very pricey. Well, your answer to that is, well, you will have done your research and you will have looked at your competitors to see what are they offering, how much are they charging, and what are they charging, and in that price, what are they offering, what are their benefits. And if you've done that, you've done a like for like, you already know your competition, and because you've asked the probing questions, you've discussed, you've asked the client to open up to you, it then becomes quite easy to then define your benefits and say, well, yes, this is my pricing, but in that pricing, I'm giving you a solution to problem 1, 2, and 3, which we discussed when we were trying to investigate your issues earlier. So that really helps. Hello, have we lost you? Oh,
I'm still here.
oh, okay. So
I just muted. Oh, it's Marilyn. Yeah. More people are joining.
Okay, so that really helps. Objections are not a bad thing, because they allow customers, they allow the customer to basically express an interest, but maybe raise an objection on, well, why should I leave my current supplier? Or is it worth the hassle? Or are you so pricey that I'm not sure about this? But if you've done your initial questioning and you've built up a picture around that customer profile, then it should be fairly easy to tackle those objections. I don't think objections are a bad thing. They allow the customer to talk back to you, because there's nothing worse than someone saying, sorry, I'm not interested, thank you very much. At least you have a conversation going. And if you've done your homework, you've done the probing, then there is a way of coming back to picking up that sale and saying, well, yes, my pricing is as such, but in that pricing, I'm helping you to solve what we discussed earlier, which was X, Y, and Z. And that gives a customer confidence. It allows them to think that this person is really thinking about my needs. They really have paid attention to the problems I'm facing, and I think they really might be able to help me. And if you've done your homework on your competitors, you should always bear in mind that if you're selling something which your competitor is selling, try and make sure you know that you can define and justify your pricing, because that shows the customer you are in line and in tune with everybody else around you that's in business selling the same product. And it also gives you confidence. When you're confident about what you've got, and when you're confident about what your competitor is selling, and you know you're great and you know you're doing a great job, you've already understood that your potential client is facing a number of problems, then it becomes easy to define a solution based around those problems. So coming back to it, to summarize, check the key concerns of your potential client. If you've checked the key concerns, you've made a note, you can then build that value on your product and say to the customer, I think we can help here, because this is what you've explained to me. This is what I think I can give you, and I think it will work really well for you. And it gives the customer some faith, and it gives them confidence and an understanding that you're there to help them. And it's not just about the sale, it's also about solving their problem. And that will take care of the costing, because you keep defining your benefits. So check the key concerns, summarize your benefits of your product. When you summarize the benefits, you're constantly outlining what you're offering in that price point, and that justifies your costing, that justifies your price. And we all like to know what we're going to get for that price. And when you do that before the customer has an opportunity to respond, you're basically making everything very clear to them. And finally, when you've done that and you've outlined your benefits and you've said, is there anything else that I can help you with? Do you have any further questions?
Yeah.
You've given your customer the opportunity to say, well, I think I have all the information I need. I think this may be something that we can look into. Then the final part would be to say, well, look, can I propose a commitment? How about if there isn't anything else that we need to discuss, and you're happy with the solution I'm offering for the price I'm offering, can I send a confirmation email so we can look at some dates and alongside that an invoice? And you'll find that if you've asked questions as you've gone along, you're more than likely to break down those objection barriers because you've taken time to understand your client.
Yeah, and I think I know you've sent me some documents. I know the how-to document. Did you send me the script as well? I'm trying to think. If you did, I haven't saved it, but yeah, resend it. And my meeting has started.
I think Marilyn was talking to somebody else and left her thing on.
Yeah, so if you've done all of that, then you are good to go, because you've asked their needs, they've defined their needs, you confirmed their needs by offering a solution, you've built your own value in your own product, you've summarized the benefits, and then it's a case of, well, look, if there isn't anything else and you feel satisfied with the information I've given you and the products and services I offer in that price, would you like me to confirm this via email and send you a proposal through or an invoice, and we can look at some dates? And that should allow you really to overcome some of those bigger hurdles that we all encounter at the beginning, because sometimes we fail to ask questions. And if you ask questions from the beginning, it should help you to build that rapport, show your interest in the client's needs, and close that sale.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think with us, like where you said, you've defined what you're offering, you're going to follow it up with an email and get dates in the diary. That's the bit that we're not always good at, is the closing or the tidying it up. And you get that thing in our line of work where people go, oh, well, I've had these problems and I'll have a think about it. And as soon as somebody says, I'll think about it, you might as well just say goodbye, because people will talk themselves out of things, even though they really need it. So I really like that, defining what you're going to do.
Yeah,
and how much it costs. You let them know exactly. But I suppose what I would ask is, when you're talking to people, how can you put over why they should pick you over other therapists? I suppose that's one I would ask.
Well, you've asked them what problems they're having, and you've then said, look, I can offer you a bespoke solution, and in that bespoke solution, I'm offering you for your problems the following points. And if you define that, then go back to the customer and say, so in relation to what we discussed and the problems you're facing, I think this would be the best sought after solution for you. And what are your thoughts? And would you like me to give you a call back tomorrow? If you think that they can't make that decision there and then ask for a commitment for a time and a day to call them back, to recap the benefits and the solutions that you're offering to them for their problem. Sometimes it's easier to do it on the day because, some people may need to think about it. Others may be ready. They may have already come to you because they want to solve that solution. And if you've offered it and defined it and summarized your benefits, there's a good chance that they'll say, yes, drop me an email, let's get some dates and send me an invoice. So there are two ways of doing it. It may not happen on the first day, But if you find that they're going towards a direction of, well, I would like to think about it, say, well, would you mind if I contact you tomorrow, so we can pick up and see how you feel, and maybe I can, you know, if there's any further pending questions, we can discuss them tomorrow. And that gives the customer ease, you know, because some people can't make the decision on the first day. They might need 24 hours. So I always finish on it like that I will say, well, look, if you want to have a think, how about I give you a call back maybe tomorrow or the day after, get a commitment off them for a telephone call or an email, and follow it up. And you'll find that if you do that, even if they weren't too sure, by calling them again and defining how you can help them and giving them that solution, you're more than likely to get a yes off them. There's always going to be some that come and go, but if you've doubled up on your strategy and you've given them an opportunity to think and go back to it again, you're more than likely then to reopen that conversation. So I would leave, if you can't close it on the day, then say, look, I'd love to talk to you tomorrow, just in case there's any further questions that might arise from our conversation today. I'd love to pick it up with you tomorrow and see how I can help. And you put the customer at ease, because it's not then simply a case of, please, can I have your money? It's a case of, well, I'd love to help you. And if there is something else that I can answer or any further questions, then we can take it up tomorrow. And that really puts people at ease.
Yeah, I love that. Love that. What was your other question, Katie? You had another one. Was
So,
that about, yeah, what was that?
So the other bit was building websites, selling online. So we'll tackle that first. I always think that when building a website or selling something online, keep your message clear and simple, because clear and simple sells. You know that you've established what you're going to sell. You've established that you're going to charge X amount. You've also done research on your competitors. So you've got that in mind, that you're going to be selling a similar product at this price. So how do you make yourself stand out? Well, make the message clear. Tell them what they're going to get. Give them something that they think, wow, you know, this is really defining. I really like the fact that this website over here is charging me X amount, the same as Joe Blogs on the other website, but I like their approach. I like that they're going to offer me, you know, X, Y, and Z. They're explaining it. There's no push for a hard sale. I can call them without obligation. It's a free chat. Offer them a free chat for 10 minutes. That, I find, that always helps, because people feel at ease in talking to you, because they know you're not going to push a sale down their throat straight away. So define what you're selling, make it clear, keep it simple. When you keep your product simple, you're more than likely to interest a customer, because it's easy to navigate. They know what you're selling. It's A, B, or C. And that really helps. Social media, again, social media, advertise, you know, promote what you're selling, keep it simple, keep the message simple, and keep it relevant, you know, because when you keep it relevant, you're then connecting with the customer, and do little promotions. I'm starting one next month, which will be similar to the one I'm running with you guys, which is the £95 power hour. And you could also think about, well, how could I entice customers to, you know, using my products and services? Well, look at little promotions, look at little offers, and see where that takes you. You know, when we're clear in our definition, and we're clear with our message, and our pricing clearly defines what we're offering, it makes it easier for the customer to navigate you on the internet, on the website, and on social media.
Yes, great. That's really, really good. It's I think that we're not always good at, I found with people, if we were to say to a therapist, there's another therapist who you've used, sell them, they would really big the other person up and speak very eloquently. Then we go, now talk about yourself. They would hold back. Do you agree, guys? You'd hold back on yourself. People often are very shy or hesitant, or don't want to be pushy. So Saniya, it's like, how do people overcome that, where they go, oh, I don't want to sound big-headed? With therapists, most are really, really modest, except for male hypnotherapists. Then they talk about themselves as if they're the second coming. I swear to God, they talk about themselves if they're the second coming. But most therapists are actually overly modest. How can they overcome that?
Well, look, you know, believe in who you are, believe in what you're offering. I always think that confidence comes from knowing your product. Confidence comes from knowing what you offer and your own belief system and the knowledge you have for what you do. If you are well versed in your area, you know what you offer, you believe that what you're offering is a good product, it's at a good price point, then allow that to come through. You know, if you have a passion to help, allow that to come through. People look for kind people. They look for people who they feel will offer them the best value for money. And if you do that with a smile and you explain yourself and understand that it's part of the journey, then that should build your confidence. And confidence also comes from simple things like, I make little lists on a weekly basis. I have short-term goals. And I will list at the beginning of the week short-term goals that I want to achieve by Friday. So as I go through the week, I'll tick off the things I've managed to achieve, and they may be only simple things. And at the end of the week on Friday at 4 o'clock, I will do what I call a review. And I will review my week, and I will look at all the things I've done that I'd listed to do and tick them off. And at the end of that review, I will think, well, you know, I've had a great week. I've achieved X, Y, and Z. And small things build confidence. Small steps lead to bigger steps. When you can look at your short-term goals and think, wow, I did that today, and it might only be writing a paragraph for your website or committing to, you know, doing a free chat for 20 minutes. Those all lead to short-term goals and conclusions. And these things build confidence. Remember, you're out there because you're selling something amazing, which is you and your services, and be proud of that and acknowledge that to yourself. You know, even if it's standing in front of the mirror and saying, you know what, I did that today, and I think I have a great product. You know your customer competition. Don't be shy, because they've come to you for help and support. And if you're honest and you have a passion to help, that will come through. Even if it's on the telephone or if it's a Zoom call, it will come through. We all look for genuine people and we all want value for money. So feel free and feel confident and enjoy the experience, because you may not get the sale today, but it's given you confidence. It's given you confidence to talk to a customer. You can go away and say, look, I didn't build a sale. I didn't get the sale today, but what did I learn? And I do that on a weekly basis. If I don't close the sale, I look at how I can improve myself. If I did close a sale, I'll also look at, well, what was it? What technique did I use? And what was so good about this sale that I actually closed it? And those are small things that you can start doing on a daily basis. And it honestly, I cannot tell you how much confidence you will build within yourself by doing these little things, you know, acknowledging how great your services is. Knowing your service, being able to define it in a clear, articulate and concise manner. It's really important when someone talks to you. Be clear on what you're telling them. Keep it simple. Don't go on and on and on, because people switch off. Keep your message simple. Ask probing questions. Define your product. Summarize the benefits, and then take it from there. But be confident, because they've come to you for a reason. And that reason is for you to give you the opportunity to say, this is what I can do for you, and this is where I can help you. And be honest. When you're honest and you're passionate and you're there to help and you're doing it in a genuine way, people love that. Don't be shy, because remember, they've come to you for a reason. Something brought them to you and attracted them to your website or to your Facebook social media page. Take advantage of that and welcome it, embrace it, because anything that is a failure is never a failure, because we learn from failures. People who succeed actually learn from failures and learn from mistakes. And I do that all the time. And so don't back away. Don't be put off by someone maybe not accepting your proposal, because there'll always be a new proposal tomorrow. And the more you tackle it and the more you talk to people, the more confident you become.
Yeah, I love that. So you're talking about self-belief, and I think that's what holds us back. Do you know one thing therapists do? They can do tons of great work. They can have loads of clients go, that was amazing. And they get that one dodgy client, which you're going to get sooner or later. It'll go, oh, that was a waste of time. And that's all they'll think about and believe, you know, that we do it in all areas of our life. That one is on social media, that one horrible comment will floor us, not all the lovely ones. And I love that. Yeah, self-belief, when you truly believe what you're doing, it's not so, it's easier to sell what you do, because if you truly believe it's going to benefit people, then you really want them to book you and come to you. It's like when I do a reading, I think, I'm glad you've come to me, because you really need a good reading here, and I'm going to really focus. When you have that belief, you do a much better job. You're absolutely right.
And I think it comes back to, you know, that simple numbers thing, that the 99 you get are amazing and you get one that isn't. Well, focus on the 99 that you've done a great job on, because there's always going to be somebody who isn't satisfied, and it may not be down to you. It may be just where they are in life, or they have other, you know, outlining objections that maybe, you know, are not related to you, but it doesn't mean that it's down to you. But focus on the good that you create, because there's always going to be somebody that raises an objection, but we shouldn't take that personally. I don't take anything personally, because I think, you know, it's part and parcel of what we do. You'll get the good ones, and you'll also get someone who may walk away and say, well, I don't think that's worth it, and that's fine. Move on to the next one.
Heidi's put a question, just wondered about pricing, as prices are huge, very hugely. Let's have a look, bring that up. With people offering the same sort of services. That's interesting.
So a huge price difference between their competitors. Okay, so has Heidi looked at what is it that they're offering that they're charging more for?
I'm mute, Heidi. That's it.
Hiya.
Hi.
Well, because I'm doing coaching and EFT and mindset as well as readings, which I'm okay with the price of those anyway. I've just noticed with things like EFT coaching and stuff like that, prices can vary by £50 to £100 difference an hour between different therapists, I suppose. So there's huge variation of different charges. I mean, I think I'm okay with my charges.
Okay.
It's not that. I just wondered, I suppose it's self-belief, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
some people offering 40 quid and some people offering the same. I actually saw somebody offering a similar service for £360 for 50 minutes. I thought, okay, self-belief for you, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's about believing what you're offering and being able to justify your pricing. And if you find that there is a price difference, be ready for that objection. Be ready to be able to justify, well, I charge X because I believe I offer X, Y, and Z. And look, you're always going to have a variation in the market. But if you've done your research and you believe in what you're offering, and you know you're confident and you can answer the question, then you'll overcome it, because that is the case for everybody out there that's selling something. There's always going to be somebody that's selling under you or above you. So how do you make your mark? You make your mark by defining what you're offering and making the customer understand and appreciate that what you're offering for that price is value for money. And you can do that by self-belief and confidence and just being nice about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was reading some research recently where one of the big shots in business, I forget who it was, said when people keep going cheaper and cheaper, it just means the whole industry ends up a mess and not making any money. He said it's not the way to go. He said, and I years ago just made my prices much higher than everybody else's, and that's when I got busy. That is when I got really busy.
Yeah, I think people need to understand. People look at something and think, well, this is what she's charging, but this is what she's offering. And as long as you're confident about that and you think it's a fair price and it justifies your services, then it doesn't matter what somebody else is doing. Go with your own flow, go with your own gut feeling and price it where you feel it's fair and believe in it. And that's how I judge, you know, any pricing structure, that, you know, if you think it's fair and you believe in it yourself, then it's fair, and your customer will believe it, because remember, they're only going by what you're telling them. So if you're confident and you believe what you're offering and you think it's a fair price and you've defined it, then you've done a good job.
But Heidi, you're happy with what you charge and you're not cheap.
I don't think I'm cheap. I keep thinking about putting my charges up a bit more, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's more of a how many sessions type thing, how I offer it out. I changed it, then I changed it back. So I'm still on the fence with quite how to do that at the moment.
But I'm sure that will come to you, because sometimes you have to think about it, mull over it, and then you usually find the right solution. So maybe it might be that you increase it, but you say if they buy a package of 6, instead of having an individual package of X, if they buy a package of 6, they can have it for a bit more discount. And sometimes that's very enticing as well.
Yeah.
You get the customer to commit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you. Still mulling it over.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you.
So has anybody got any particular areas they struggle with, or anything they'd like to ask Saniya?
Sorry to hog it. There is one thing that's really I've always struggled with, actually, and we know how important this is, about being clear and simple in your message, about so people can look and go, I need her. Really struggled with that for 10 years, probably. Still not there quite with that.
So you'd kind of write out your message. I mean, is it on the website? Are your products and services on the website? When was the last time you reviewed them?
Oh, yesterday, probably.
Okay. And how do you feel? Do you feel that it's sufficient? Do you feel it's concise?
No, I think it's too long and wordy.
Okay. What I would do, I would write a short-term goal down, and that would be to redefine what you're offering, but in a more articulate and shorter version of what you currently have, and keep going over it. I find that I write something and then I'll define it again, and I'll narrow it down again. And after 3 or 4 versions, by the end of the week, I have exactly what I want. And I think what you have to do is rewrite it and make it simpler and shorter to what you currently have. And then go over it again and do it 3 or 4 times. And by the end of the week, you'll have something that you're really happy with, because you have to go over things, look at them, step away from them, and look at them again with fresh eyes.
Yeah, but I do keep trying. I still haven't quite nailed it, though. Still too wordy, however many times I write it. But yeah.
Well, what is it that you're offering? What is it that you're offering? What do you offer? What is it? What product is it that you're telling me about?
It's all about mindset. Emotional freedom technique is what I do. So within the coaching, so it's helping people get rid of their disempowering beliefs, old habits and patterns, trauma, stuff like that. But so I was trying to nail who I'm looking at.
So would you be able to, if I asked you to write it down in 12, summarize it in 12 points, what your mindset belief system entails, would you be able to do that for a customer? If they just said, I just want 12 points from you, can you drop me an email without the detail? Would you be able to just summarize 12 points that defines this product of mindset belief system? Would you be able to do that?
I don't know, but that's my homework I've just been given from you, so I shall do.
There you go. I would start with that. I'd summarize 12 points. And I think, well, how do I describe myself and this service in 12 points, 12 bullet points?
Right. So I suppose it's about getting the bio right that I'm thinking about for all the different social media points on the social media stuff. Thank you.
Welcome.
I have a comment. So one of the things I do, well, 2 things that might help others is I share stories. So once I've listened, as Saniya says, listen to what people want. Often I say, well, everybody is unique. However, I had a client and this is how I help them with XYZ, and this was the outcome. So I also use like outcome measures for like mood, if it's kind of changing stress, for example, or they're feeling tired or whatever. So I can say, well, in an hour, their mood scale or whatever, their stress level, reported stress level went down by 80-90% or disappeared, you know, that kind of thing. So if you can actually prove the benefits, you have a sort of an outcome measure. And also people like stories, you know, and it inspires them, because then if you've got someone who maybe has had PTSD or whatever it is, and you say, well, I was working with this gentleman with PTSD and we worked on this, that and the other, or whatever it is, you know, and then they can say, well, that relates to them, because they can relate that story to them. So that might be helpful for people.
I think I totally agree with you. I think that's a really good way of explaining to potential clients, well, look, I've done this already, and here are my key testimonies, and list those testimonies, whether they're on your social media or on your website. But it's a really good way of engaging with new clients. And I think it's a really, really positive thing to do. So I think you're doing a great job there, because you're telling people what you've already done. And so you're outlining your experiences. Everybody wants somebody who is experienced. And by telling those short stories, you're giving people an opportunity to think, well, she already knows all of this and she's already done this. And I look at those things as well, because if I'm looking to buy a service, I want to go with somebody that really I know is experienced and can help me. So the fact that you're doing that is an amazing thing. And perhaps all of you should be, you know, doing as Maria does, you know, listing those experiences and having something to share, because we want to engage with people who we feel have evidence of being able to support us. And you're already doing that. So well done.
I think Catty had her hand up earlier.
Oh.
Hi, hello everybody, and thank you so much for this workshop. So much help and good information is coming through. So my question concerns variety of services or products. So for example, with FOP, I can offer past life regressions or then future life regression. And then I'm also a family constellation facilitator and also an organizational constellation facilitator. So I have several products or services rather that I can offer my clients. And I'm sometimes trying to think, how do I offer them and not confuse my client? So I'm wondering, should I focus on one service at a time, for example, on social media, or how should I approach it? Or even on my website, what should I talk about, rather than give them 4 examples of what I can do with them and not confuse them?
Okay, so that's a really good question. Coming back to what we discussed earlier, I would start by probing. So you're going back to probing questions again. So the customers come to you, you don't know what they're looking for, but you know you have 5 services that you could potentially offer them. So what you do is you ask them questions, you ask them, what is it that they're currently facing? So you build that story, you build that background on your customer, because you're allowing them to interact with you. You're giving them the opportunity to explain what they're looking to do with you and why they've come to you. And then based on that, you can then say, well, I think based on what we've discussed, and as you said, you're currently facing X, Y, and Z, I think this solution that I have on offer here would be the best starting point. Again, if you try and bombard people with too much of a solution or too many options, they're more than likely to get confused, because they're probably already in that state of mind, and that's why they've come to you in the first place. So offer them one solution, a bespoke solution that you feel might be the best solution for them at this current time. When you overload people with information, they tend to switch off.
Sometimes I find it easier when I'm talking with the client or the client to be. But what if they come to my website? How should I build my website? Or if I'm trying to increase interest in social media, I'm wondering if I should post on each of the services that I have, or should I focus on one service for a month and then switch to another service or product for another month?
I post simultaneously on all of them.
Okay.
On social
Okay.
media, post everywhere, because look, you know, you never know where your next client is going to come from. So spread, you know, spread your eggs out, you know, don't keep them in one basket, you know. And as far as your website's concerned, when you list your products and services, they must be listed under services. So you must have a link for each one that they can click onto and read them out. So it's more than likely that they'll come to you and say, well, I had a look and it's this service here that I think I'm looking at, and then talk about that, get their background, build that value, understand where your customer is coming from and what they're actually having difficulty in, and then work it around that and say, well, I think, yes, you've discussed this, but perhaps we should look at X over there. So maybe they've come to you and they've gone for the top end, and maybe you understand and you believe that that's not what they need. They need something quite basic, and start them there, because automatically you build that trust almost immediately and say, well, how about if we start over here and then we can build it up? And sometimes that's a better way of closing a sale than to go in right at the top, because you're more than likely to frighten them. But give them the option and say, well, look, this is what you've looked at, and this is how, and this is what this is about. But I'm thinking, based on what you've told me and what we've discussed, well, we should start over here, which might be a smaller, more basic option. But you're building trust in that way.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
There's a question from Marilyn. She said, I often have the too good to be true thing come up, despite having tons of testimonials. So, you know, your offer sounds amazing and people go, oh, that's too good to be true. How do you overcome that?
Like I said, you explain yourself. You know, if it is too good to be true and it is a great offer, talk about it. You know, talk about it with confidence and, you know, celebrate it. Because if it's a great offer and you know it and other people know it, there's always going to be somebody that thinks, really? Is it really that great? I don't believe that. Well, you're always going to get that. And that comes down to the 99 people who will love you and the one who will say, really, I really don't believe you. And well, such, you know, that's just statistics. And so focus on the ones that you can talk to, that are willing to listen. And if you've got a great product and a great service and you've explained it well, and you've defined your pricing structure, then it'll be good for those who really need it.
Yeah, great stuff. Really great. Yeah. Nita, did you have anything you wanted to ask?
Hi everyone, sorry I joined so late. Yeah, I was actually just about to type it in the comment section. So I should have a call with Saniya next week, so I look forward to that. I think it was piggybacking off of what Katia and Heidi were saying, because I have many things that I offer, and I've just become a master NLP practitioner and then trained with Anne. So I want to combine, I think the NLP and the FLP really combine well together. I also do astrology, and my bread and butter at the moment is intuitive readings, tarot readings, intuitive readings. And I think I've proven to myself I'm really good at what I do. So the pricing is not an issue for me, but now I just redid my entire website and I'm like, I don't know if it flows right. So I'm struggling with trying to streamline everything and, you know, make it less confusing for clients when they do come to me. So I'm just about to put, you know, open my Google business profile and, you know, sort of be succinct. And really, I want to get away from doing sort of tarot readings. I want to really, I think I want to do the deeper work with people who are really looking for their soul's purpose and can reconnect back to themselves. So that's where the NLP and the FLP is where I want to go, along with the astrology and teach astrology.
Well, I think the most important thing is that you've defined where you want to focus your energy on. And that's always important, knowing, well, where do I really want to take this and which areas? So that's great. You focused on those. You know that those are 2 areas that really work for you and you want to build on those. As far as your website goes, we can look at that on Monday, because I've yet to look in detail, you know, to see what you're currently offering and where we can improve and how you can improve your message. But I'd say a good starting point before we meet on Monday is to have defined that these are the areas that you're looking to continue with, and where you feel that, you know, you're really offering a great service. And I think that's always important. Before you do anything, before you make any radical change, whether it's your website or information, define what it is that you know you wish to progress with. And I think you've done that. So that's a really good starting point. And on Monday, we can go deeper into that and then look at your website, look at I will have a look before Monday to see what it is in detail you're currently offering and where we can chop and change before you make those changes.
Yeah, perfect.
It seems to be coming up quite a lot that, you know, you've got all these different things you do. So it's defining, to me, it's about defining who you are and what you do.
Yes.
In 2 or 3 words. So
absolutely.
You know, so stop and think about who your clients are and what you do for them. And that'd be your name or your business name. And underneath, you know, I help people see the future. Have that one sentence you do, then everything's your tools you use for that. You think people are confusing their tools with what they do, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, I have the transformation. I've been tweaking, you know, the transformation tagline, if you will, on my website. So most of what I want, the transformation is reconnecting them back to what I call your true original self, helping them find that path, that purpose, and then releasing the blocks that are stopping them from getting, you know, finding that purpose, right? Because that's kind of the transformation that I've been going through.
Yeah, well, I'm going to send you an email with all the questions that I'd like you to answer, so that I can build up some more detailed information from you, so that when we talk on Monday, we can tackle those areas. And that's why it's called a power hour, because I already know the information ahead. I know what problems you're facing, and then we can look at all of that. But the fact is, you know, between now and Monday, you know, think of those, you know, bullet points that you feel really define you.
Thank you, I will do. Thank you.
You know, because that's really important, because when we're clear in our own mind about what we believe we are offering, it's clear to the potential client as well.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Anne, for doing this. This is amazing.
So, Saniya, the power hour. It's really interesting, because these are the bits we never get. I love that you're getting to the bits we don't get to. So we have all this undefined stuff floating about, and then we don't know what we're offering. So how the hell is the client going to know what we're offering if we don't know? So at the power hour, what sort of things happen in a power hour?
Well, in the power hour, I usually send an email ahead of the session to the customer, asking various questions about their business, what areas they're having difficulty in, what they're hoping to achieve. And that gives me a broad picture then of, you know, where their difficulties are. It allows me to look at the website, look at, you know, what they've done. And then it allows me to kind of break it down. And then we're covering key areas of problems that really matter to them, that are probably acting as obstacles and holding them back from, you know, closing that sale or talking to that next customer. And that's why it's good, because it's very defined. It's based on what you've told me in that, you know, questionnaire. What you've told me is, you know, we're covering. And I like it because they go away with some ammunition. They can go away and say, look, right, she's given this was my problem area. We've discussed this, and now I'm going to go away and practice it. So it's very bespoke to that customer and to that client and what they're, you know, looking to achieve.
Thank you. I have to go.
Lovely.
Right,
Bye.
Thanks for joining us, Heidi. Hey, Heidi. Yeah, Heidi said she's got to be somewhere. Has anybody got anything else they want to ask? I found this really interesting, because we don't define. And do you know, most therapists avoid this part. They avoid actually, they go off and learn a new course, but they never actually define who they are, what they do, or how their message comes across. Now, what I love is it showed that you will take yourself seriously and you're addressing the bits that can always make us feel a bit uncomfortable. So I'm really great to see you all here and see that you take yourself seriously. Has anybody else got anything they wish to ask?
It's not for me to ask, it's just a comment. So it goes back to what Saniya was saying about, you know, being clear. So what I did was I looked at all the people that came to me and the reason why. And you know that we know that problems have price tags, that's why people come. So that's what Saniya was saying. So one of the things that I realized people were coming to me for, which I then translated into, so I've got choose a door, change your life. So it's open your door to peace, open your door to passion and purpose. So it's about confidence was one thing, getting it more energized was another, looking at their career path, particularly I'm into career paths and soul purpose. So, and also people wanted to get less stressed. So those were the key areas that people were coming to me for. And that then helped me to lead on to a way. So if I'm in a networking group or people say, what do you do? That's the kind of thing I lead on. And then I tell them a little story and it changes depending on who I'm talking to. And I've just found that that's just a really easy way, but it's taken quite a long time to, you know, hone it down as to that's what I do, because I just allowed my clients, I thought, well, who's actually coming to me? And then I allowed them to give me the answer. So again, it's about what Saniya was saying, it's about listening to what your clients want.
Yeah, listening to their needs, asking questions, building up rapport, building up a picture of their current situation and where you might be able to help. And again, that comes down to summarizing your benefits. When you summarize benefits, you're giving information out and you're allowing people to think, well, actually, perhaps she could help me. Perhaps, you know, this thing over here that she does where she opens the door and maybe it might be life-changing, it might change my career. You've given someone an opportunity to further delve into your services. So that's a really good thing. So it comes down to summarizing benefits. Be clear. What are your benefits? What are you offering? Keep it simple. Bullet points.
I love this. This has been great, Saniya, and
Welcome.
And I appreciate the special offer because it's, you know, it's really, you know, something people can afford, and you know, it really helped them define their message and what they're doing. So, Guy, there is a special offer. I think it's 95 for a power hour.
Yeah,
great deal. That's a great deal. People charge so much for these things. That's a really good deal. And to have that, I love having personalized. I'm not very good at going off and there's a 3-day training. I want to sit with somebody and them actually look at my stuff personally. I very rarely do go with the big groups for this type of thing. I like it personalized. I think that makes much more sense. To actually have somebody look at your stuff and analyze it and see what you don't see or strengthen that message is great. So this will be going up. I will, in case any of you, I know Magali, you came in a bit late. So I will be putting this on the practitioner page and in the next newsletter. I'll be putting it out, and I'll make sure this will go on YouTube, and Saniya, put your website in the comments on when the link comes out. I'll send you over on YouTube. But
lovely.
This has been so nice. It's been so brilliant. Thank you so much, Saniya. It's been really good.
You're all welcome.
Really nice. Everyone's really been concentrating. I can see it's really, really helpful. So we shall talk again. So thank you so much. Thank you.
And welcome. And I wish you all the best. And yeah, thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye, guys. That was great.